Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the J72 Gaming channel. My name is Jacob, but you can just call me Jay here. In today's video, I bring you something a little bit different than what I've made before, and something I want to let you guys know right off the bat will be 100% extremely opinionated and solely my opinion. And that is the answer to my question, what is the most interesting, fun, unique dinosaur to play in the Isle Evrima? Now, while we only have 8 options to choose from as of the time of recording this, each of them have a unique playstyle that makes each of them special in their own way. Well, almost all of them. The abilities of each dinosaur are the main gameplay aspect we as players get involved with, so I figured it would be fun to sit down and let you all know my opinion on each of them. This tier list, like I said, will be purely my opinion and not a list of how powerful or balanced a dinosaur is. I will be talking about damage or general survivability, and will definitely take that into account while we go over my rankings for each, but in general, this is just a list of which dinosaurs I like to play and why. There's a lot more that goes into the enjoyment of playing a dinosaur than just simply which one does the most damage or is unkillable. For me, it's a combination of immersiveness, overall uniqueness, and how the map plays favor to these traits. Some may even get a push in one direction or the other if I'm a fan of that specific playstyle or not. But with all the introduction stuff out of the ways, guys, if you end up liking this video, please drop me a like and subscribe to stick around for some more dinosaur videos and interesting discussion things like this. Now for the tier list. So go sit back, kick back, go grab a snack, and let's get into the tier list of Evrima's dinosaurs. First up on the list is the Tanatosaurus. The Tenno is a very solid dinosaur to play in the Isle, and has been created to be a perfect herbivore alternative to the Carnotaurus. This plant eater is super fast for an herbivore, and has a humongous tail which it can make full use of during combat. The playstyle of the Tenno is also really fun for me. Being so quick, it allows you to outrun many of the predators you'll find on the island, and while it can't outrun its alternative of the Carno, the two have been balanced against each other, and when the two players of equal strength playing a Tenno and a Carno come against each other, it's truly anyone's game. The only real thing a Tenno has to worry about is coming across multiple Carnos, and even more specifically, coming across a Utah pack while out of stamina. While one Utah is nothing against a Tenno, being ambushed and surrounded will force the Tenno player into a very punishing situation where the correct answer is to run, but the reality does not always allow that to be a thing if you be pounced on and left out to bleed. The Tenno also has multiple ways to be controlled in the game. The player has access to a bite and a claw attack, as well as the powerful yet stamina draining tail slam. The tail slam is the main form of combat with the Tenno, and like the Stegosaurus, wants to keep its opponents and predators behind it at all times. So as for a ranking, I'm going to have to give the Tanatosaurus a solid B rating. It's not the most fun dinosaur in the game, but it does have plenty of aspects that make your time as a speedy road warrior worth it. It's very much the definition of middle of the pack dinosaur for me on this tier list, so I thought it would be a good place to start. Now next up on our list, the lumbering gigantic croc himself, Deinosuchus. The Deinosuchus is such a unique reptile to play in the Isle, as it is the only semi-aquatic creature that we currently have available. Due to this, I think the play session as a Dino player is an experience which has no easy comparability alternative. Unlike the Tenno, which is in many ways like a Stego in the sense of gameplay, this crocodile is one of a kind. The life of a Dino demands an absolute ton of patience to get to full adulthood. Not only does it take 5 hours to grow to full adult, but your time will be spent hiding from bigger, meaner, and hungrier Deinosuchus players who are not shy about cannibalism, trust me. And I'm really not kidding about the patience thing here either. A successful Dino player will have spent many of those 5 hours with multiple chunks of time in between killing, simply hiding in the reeds or spending a while hiding underwater under a rock or a downed log. While playing this animal is not for everybody, I do enjoy it for what it's got. I mentioned earlier that immersion as a creature in the Isle is very important to me, and the Deinosuchus is one of the most immersive gameplay experiences this game has to offer. The sound effects underwater and around the waterways of the newly updated Isla Spyro map are fantastic, and even though a ton of the time as a Dino will be spent worrying if the giant croc passing you in the river is going to eat you as your heart rate starts to climb hoping you survive, the rest of the time is spent straight vibing as a croc in the swamps. The gameplay abilities of this croc are also very interesting to mess with, and aid in that immersion I appreciate so much. The water sense mechanic is pretty neat, and makes sense when you're playing a creature so in tune with the water, and the lunge mechanic is extremely rewarding to pull off, and equally as cool to be attacked by, albeit a total bummer to die by. So, all of this in mind, I'm going to be giving the Deinosuchus a rating of B, right next to the Tanatosaurus, but just ahead of it as I think that immersion really helps out its rating. I almost put the Dino in at a low A rating, but the playstyle requires just a bit too much time for me personally to fully enjoy it, so top of the B tier is where it's gonna chill. Direct hit. The little stomach acid spraying Hipsy. So I like this little guy, I really do, but I'm gonna be upfront with you all about its rating right at the start here. The Hipsy is getting a C. Now, why a C, you might ask? The Hipsy has a cool spitting mechanic, and it's able to jump to great heights. It can leap a tall Carno in a single bound. Surely it's worth a higher rating. Well, those might be true, and that's kind of about it that the Hipsy has to offer. So I have made a series of videos here on my channel called my Hipsy Spitting Challenge, where I go around trying to spit and blind every type of dinosaur in the game, and that has made me really enjoy the Hipsy for more than I thought I would. However, the Hipsy is lacking a few key features in the game which really aid to its enjoyability, and those aren't coming for a while, and that is the nesting mechanic and the Hipsy's growth system. Now, I'm not really sure why the Hipsy is the only dinosaur in the game right now lacking the ability to spawn as a juvenile and to challenge yourself to grow to full adult. Instead, it just spawns in as an adult, ready to go, poison locked, loaded, and ready to be fired in a trolling manner at the nearest carnival player to pass by. So while there is definitely fun to be had with the Hypsilophodon, for me, I feel like you need to kind of push yourself into unrealistic situations to experience those, like I have done in my series. Sure, I'll give it to you that's a bit fun to be the quick little herbivore under the giant Stegosaurus and Tanato players in a big herd, ready to try to blind the Carno players as the Stegos can move in for a kill, or help blinding and letting Tanato players get in there and kill. But that relies on the dinosaurs nearby to get a full experience of the Hipsy. Ultimately for me, this little poison cannon just doesn't quite hold up to being as fun to play in the long run as the rest of the roster. So this little one is going to sit here in the C corner and just think about what it needs to do to learn how to grow up. Alright, time for the flappy boys themselves, the Pteranodons. Soaring into the game with the new Update 3, the Pteranodon is the first aerial dinosaur that we have to play with, and boy does it feel good. Starting as a small juvenile, you really get a sense of your lack of stamina to fly, and it feels really good once you've successfully gotten to full adulthood and can soar for literally tens of minutes around the map. The growth time as the Terra is extremely short, and honestly, I could be okay with them adding 30 minutes to an hour longer into the growth time. But for now, it's just a simple hour till you're soaring as a full adult. The Pteranodon has a very cool and immersive play session, as you're forced to live around rivers and swamps to get your fish you need to survive, yet you're also able to be a scavenger if you come across downed corpses, which is a cool feeling that makes you feel like an opportunistic vulture as you glide down to feast. Living near the water also constantly has you aware of the presence of these Deinosuchus players, who are more than ready to make a quick meal out of you if you manage to fail your fishing run. And speaking of fishing as a Pteranodon, the mechanics behind it are pretty sweet. It took me a good while to get used to gliding above the water just enough to be able to reliably get a fish each run, and the learning process is a fun way to really feel like you know how to control the dino. I also need to let you all know that I'm a huge absolute fan of exploring the map in this game, and really any game, honestly. Searching for nooks and crannies hidden away in popular spots is really fun for me, and the exploration potential of the Pteranodon is a massive plus for me. Being able to soar high and go wherever I want is sick, and really helps boost the Dino's rating up to the highest rating I've ever given this video yet, and that's sitting up here as a high tier A. The controls, uniqueness, immersiveness, skill ceiling, and possibilities when playing this dinosaur really outshine some of the other options we have to play in the Evrima roster, and I'm happy to say this is one of my favorite dinosaurs that we have available yet. Okay, whew, well, time to talk about a dinosaur I'm not nearly as excited to play as the high-soaring Pteranodon, and that is the little Dryo that could. Or rather couldn't, as it currently has no special abilities to make it unique. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate how cute the Dryo is, and how innocent and frail you feel when playing it. It has been fun being the biggest prey target in the Isle, and running from the predators and hiding skillfully does have its moments of enjoyment. But overall for me, this guy needs a little bit more uniqueness to be worth much more as a viable choice here in the Evima roster. Because what reason is there to play a Dryo right now over a Hipsy, other than a little bit more speed? We have gotten a glimpse at the future of the Dryo, however, and we may just be getting a robust digging and tunneling mechanic for this little guy, which would make it extremely cool to play. Being able to dig complex tunnel systems around the map with different entrances and exits will make me want to engineer a really cool cave system and try to nest in an absolute army of Dryo players in our civilization underground. But for now, those ideas are just dreams, and the reality is the Dryo has only one playstyle right now, and that is to spawn in, hide, hope you find a Stego or Tenno player to partner up, and then hope they don't end up killing you with friendly fire when that inevitable combat situation with a carnivore comes to pass. Sorry, little buddy, but I've got to put you down here in the D tier as the worst dinosaur to play currently in Evrima. Let's hope the digging mechanic will come out soon, as it will surely change my rating for the better and make this a tiny dinosaur really truly unique to play. Screw it. Yeah. Racing into the next slot, we've got the fastest dinosaur on the island ready to be rated, and that's the head-charging Carnotaurus. The Carno is an absolutely fantastic dinosaur in Evrima, and once it was added and became the counterpart to the Tanatosaurus, the game really began to be fun for me and enjoyable. Being a solo Carno player is a ton of fun, and while you still feel super powerful and pretty much able to walk wherever you want without too much of a care in the world, there are still moments when you will find yourself scared. A powerful adult solo Carno is still not a sure match against a Utah pack, and the accidental slip up on the river's edge will make you a quick meal for a giant Dino. Besides these situations, though, and I guess coming across other cannibalizing Carno packs, most of the time you're able to choose your battles when you want, and that's a really cool option to have when playing Evrima. Hunting as a Carno is easily one of my favorite things to do in the game, and being able to track the scent trails quickly as a predator really fits that immersion requirement for me when I sit down to play a carnivore. To be honest, it kind of feels like the game was made for the Carnotaurus. There's a perfect herbivore counterpart in the Tanatosaurus, where one-on-one fights could go either way, and there are larger and smaller herbivores to fit those niches in the wild around you. Hipsies and Dryos exist for you to hunt down, and they feel good and kind of challenging to find. And the Stegos offer a true challenge to fight. A fight that is possible, but much more one-sided for the Stego player. The other carnivorous dinosaurs also feel good around the Carno. The Utahs are easy prey when found solo, but a full pack may just be the reason that you die, meaning every call you hear from a Utah makes you wonder if it's prey or predator. The Dino also adds a cool niche when you're the Carno, being plentiful prey when they are smaller, yet becoming the only other predator larger than you when they reach full adult. The Carno also has one of the more interesting special abilities in the head charge, and that combined with its quick speed and ability to skid and turn on the spot make fast speed combat a blast to be had. All of these add up to my final rating for the Carno, and if you couldn't tell already by my enthusiastic description, I'm putting Carnotaurus up at S tier as my favorite dinosaur to play in Evrima currently. Everything about this theropod feels great, and if they can continue making other theropods feel as good as this one, then Evrima is going to have a ton of fun going forward in regards to fast-paced combat. Love it. So now for the big spiky dude himself, Stegosaurus. I've not got a huge amount to say on the Stego that I haven't already said about the Tanatosaurus, if I'm perfectly honest with you all. Like the Tanatosaurus, its main form of combat is to use its massive tail as a deterrence for predators, letting them know to back up and stay away. However, unlike the Tenno, the Stego only has its strength to aid it. Where the Tenno is able to run from Utahs, the Stego cannot, and although it's easily the strongest hitting dinosaur in the game, the playstyle for me is a little bit lacking in variety and uniqueness. Once the diet and nesting mechanics come into the game, I will have a lot more fun being this guy, as roaming the map looking for the perfect foraging spot while protecting a giant herd will be fun, and more specifically, finding cool nesting spots where you're able to kind of turtle up and defend the few openings of the nest will make you feel like a wall for your herd. But for right now, it remains to simply be a slow dinosaur most players don't want to mess with. So short and simple rating for this guy, he's going to sit in the low B tier, just behind the Tenno. Both of them are fantastic, all-around dinosaurs, with honestly little holding them back, but honestly not a whole lot boosting them up in the rankings either. For me, fun with herbivores require a large herd, being part of a giant family who bands together to protect the young, and a cool reason to find the correct types of food. and without nesting, honestly, they both bore me a little bit more than the Predator's gameplay of tracking and hunting that we currently have. So I'm sorry, Stego. I really do like you as a dinosaur, but as far as a playable creature in Evrima, you're just kind of an average choice. Okay, Utah time. I bet a ton of you have been waiting for this rating. Is it going to be S tier alongside Carno? Or maybe I think it's boring down with the Dryo? Okay, no, it's not that bad. So the Utah is a really good addition to the roster, and I think something that makes it great is its inclusion as a dinosaur to be afraid of. Basically what I mean, I think some of the most fun to be had with the Utah's inclusion to the roster is when playing other dinosaurs and being afraid of the Utahs. But to be part of a large Utah pack is also one of the best experiences you can have in the game. To be in a pack of other players is to form a family bond with each of your pack mates, each of you helping each other hunt and stay safe from the larger predators around the island. Being able to hop up on rocks to stay safe often breeds peaceful moments as a Utah player, allowing for the group to socialize and just relax and chill. While there's moments during the hunt that are intense and you are constantly on the edge of your seat, as any moment a slight slip up in any positioning may leave you as the dead Utah player. It's very common that during any confrontation with the Utah pack that the Utahs will win, but will lose at least one member during the fight. The feeling of success and loss at the same time is a reoccurring feeling in the Utah player life, and it's a unique experience not felt with all the other dinosaurs in this game. I also need to mention the pounce mechanic. How could I not mention the pounce mechanic? Being able to be a raptor and leap out to shred and rip the flesh of other dinosaurs is a childhood dream to be able to play as, and they have made it feel very good. Although balancing this mechanic has and will continue to be a challenge to fine-tune. Regardless of that, however, it is an awesome special ability to have while playing, and skilled Utah mains will surely and truly be a threat to any prey not careful enough to stay away. So, where do I think Utahs deserve to go on this list? Well, I'm sorry to say for all you Utah mains, I do not think it is quite as enjoyable as the Carnotaurus. So for me personally, it does not quite hit that S rank for me, but it is 100% more fun to play than everything in B tier and below. So the Utah is going to hang out in the A tier. So that leaves the final question. Do I think Utahs are more enjoyable than the Pteranodon? Well, if you know me, you would know I'm quite the sucker for flying, be it in planes, as a superhero, or now as a flying, screeching reptile. I just really enjoy being able to take to the skies in video games, glide around, swooping and swaying between trees as I test my acrobatic prowess. So for me personally, I'm going to put the Utah in the A tier, but just behind the Pteranodon. However, if I rated these two unbiasedly, they would easily be equal, and I wouldn't be surprised if anyone put either of them up at the S tier with the Carno. Alright folks, that's my tier list for the dinosaurs and reptiles of the Isle Evrima. What do you all think? Agree with some of my choices? Are you stoked I picked Carno to rule them all? Or maybe you're a little upset that I put the Hipsy in the corner to think about what it needs to do to grow up? I kid. And I know, sorry Dryo fans. If this was a tier list of the cutest dinosaurs, Dryo would easily be leading them all at high S tier. I hope you all enjoyed that video. It was a blast to sit down and script out, figuring out where my opinions lay with each dinosaur. I've gone ahead and left the link to this tier list down in the description below, so you can rank them yourselves and share with everybody your opinions on the list. Let me know down in the comment section where you would rank each of these, and please remember that this whole thing has just been my opinion. If you disagree, that's cool, man. You're entitled to your wrong opinion. I joke. Alright all, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the J72 Gaming channel. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me, but until next time, I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. But until next time, peace out.